The Green Finance Workshop in Ethiopia highlighted the country's commitment to combating climate change through its flagship initiative, the Green Legacy. This initiative aims to foster a green economy by generating finance and resources to support sustainable practices across various sectors. The workshop served as a platform for participants from diverse backgrounds to share experiences, discuss strategies, and explore avenues for climate financing. A green economy is one that aims for sustainable development without degrading the environment. Countries like Ethiopia can access funds from international climate finance mechanisms such as the Green Climate Fund or the Global Environment Facility. These funds are designed to support climate resilient projects. Developing green bonds, climate insurance products, and other financial instruments can attract investments aimed at environmental sustainability. Platforms like the Africa-China Center for Policy and Advisory facilitate knowledge exchange and capacity building among stakeholders. This helps in formulating effective policies that encourage investment in green initiatives.
This climate finance is mainly focused on how to support green business, how to support the green legacy, how to support our environment. So as we know, Ethiopia has a big initiative, that's the green legacy. This green legacy has so many purposes. One of the purposes is to bring a finance for the ecosystem. So climate finance, the theme of the workshop, is mainly addressing how to generate a business by protecting our environment. So when we are protecting our own earth with green legacy, we can sequestrate so many carbons, and that carbon financing again can generate a business and can protect our environment. So the green legacy and this workshop is highly interconnected, and we are here to mobilize a resource, to create awareness, to bring a platform from different stakeholders who are mainly acting on this climate finance.
It's called the Sino-Africa Green Finance Alliance. So what this project is about is to map out and track the flow of green finance into Africa for industrialization. So more like a green industrialization agenda of African countries. But under the first phase of this project, we are doing two countries. We are doing Ghana and we are doing Ethiopia. Through the industrial revolution, the combustion, the sort of emissions that we emit into the system. So the idea is that what if we're able to, as people, and trying to save the planet, we can cut down on the emissions of anything that sort of impact the environment and impact the climate. And so as part of that, obviously, the idea is that we need to identify the sections and the sectors that we can actually revamp and make sure that these sectors are actually have climate sensitivity issues. They are resolving climate sensitive issues as we are dealing with. And a chunk part of this, once you identify these sectors, you identify the project, identify the ideas that you believe can help us reduce the emission of CO2 into the atmosphere, there is an angle that will be missing, which is the financing. So these new ideas that we've generated, new businesses that are coming up.
Establishing clear policies that promote sustainable practices and provide incentives for businesses to invest in green technologies is essential. The Sino-African Green Alliance exemplifies how collaborative policy formulation can enhance green finance initiatives. Dawood Zagaye, a fellow researcher, also explained that this Africa-China Center for Policy and Advisory is a think tank for policy formation, experience exchange, and sharing studies and investigations among different stakeholders of the two countries.
This Africa-China Center for Policy and Advisory, it is a think tank. So by using this think tank, different stakeholders, academia and the government and even the civil society has been participating for policy formation, for experience sharing, and for providing some studies and some investigation, particularly that affects both China and Africa. We know that China and Africa's relation has been in a good step. Because we can see all the activities that China has been supporting Ethiopia a lot, has been even in particular, and China also has been supporting Africa in general. general. Therefore, we are here just to provide policy formation, experience sharing, and different activities that promote sustainable partnership between China and Africa.
Collaborations between government and private sectors can mobilize resources for sustainable projects. This can include investments in renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and infrastructure development.
Ethiopia has been working, in order to fight climate change, because the current climate change problems has been affecting Africa a lot. Particularly, we Ethiopians, we are the second most populous country in Africa, and that's the 10th most populous country across the world in general. Therefore, such kinds of population may affect the climate change and degrade the environment negatively. Therefore, I think working in order to provide more sustainable and conducive environment for climate change and for green financing would be very crucial for us.
Programs that support local innovation, such as those led by Helena Teklu and her organization Seed Balls Ethiopia, are vital in this regard.
We work on the agriculture and the biodiversity sector because for us, we believe Ethiopia's economy, 80% is based on agriculture, so we needed to work on that. And we need to bring innovative products to this country. So this is what I have, for example, this is called Seed Balls. What I have is paper or qaria. It's made up of different type of soils and compost. Inside this, there are 4 paper seeds or qaria zaruch. It's inside it, right? And for us, so this is an innovative product where we believe in the green aspect, especially in the agriculture, where we protect the seeds from being eaten by birds, insects, and the like. The way you plant it is easy. All you have to do is just put it on top of the soil. And especially if it's rainy seasons like this, you do not even need to water it. It will crack itself and it will grow. So the soil will go to the ground, and if the ground, let's say if it's land degraded, we have the potential to retrieve back that degraded land, and its fast growth rate too as well. It's a very fast growth rate. For example, with seedlings, if it takes 3 months to grow, with this, I'm talking about the vegetable aspect of things, it takes 2 months and 10 days maximum, and also we extend the shelf life for it too. So it's just an innovative product that we're seeing. It took us a while to get the mixture and for it to work, but now everything works. We've tried it with vegetables, we've tried it with flowers, we've tried it with trees. Especially with trees, you can actually reforest areas that are inaccessible to humans using especially drones. As I said, rainy season, you don't need to water it, it will crack itself. And since we extend the shelf life, for example, let's say there's a jacaranda seed that we wrapped here, one seed ball wrapped it, placed it in a bayberha, for example, let's say. And once we extend the shelf life, for example, if the seed doesn't expire in 30 years, we make sure it doesn't expire in 35. So we place it there, and within this 35 years, if rain starts coming and, just doing that, what happens is the deforested area would be reforested. So a bayberha would change into just a bias or something, no berha included in it. So this is what we do with this.
By fostering collaboration among various stakeholders, including government entities, private sector players, and international partners, the country aims to create a robust framework for green finance. The ongoing dialogue and partnerships are crucial for advancing these goals and ensuring a greener future for all. Sino-African Green Alliance is the alliance between Africa and China and the green investment, and it is important to get to know each other and formulate policy and green finance.
Sino-African Green Alliance is the alliance between Africa and China on this green investment. So the two continents are working to make this green investment possible. So it's the China government that supporting the African countries, especially the organizers, that is Africa-China Policy Institute or something like that, you can name it. So they are the ones supporting this initiative. So now the journey is started in Ethiopia. Hopefully they will round across the board in Africa. Then we will figure out what are the problem really not to implement this climate financing, how to make green entrepreneurship, how to make a green business, green economy. Then through process, all the continents all the African nations will be aware of that, and they will work for the betterment of the continent. And this is an initiative mainly supported by the China.
First of all, it's an inspiring blueprint for most countries in the continent to actually try and follow such an example, that a country can be determined, we can have real structures in place to ensure that they work on the path of green industry. And I've seen when I walk across, as I took a stroll across some part of the city, I saw the EV, a lot of EV vehicles across, and even some of the ride-hailing app. We see a lot of the vehicles that they use are EVs, and that is very inspiring. I wish to see that as I travel across many cities across the continent, this is what we see, that if we stay committed to this path of green industrialization, definitely it's possible to achieve, and that is a success story that we want to see from Ethiopia and application across many countries on the continent. Well, in the face, it's not as if Ghana is doing something directly Ethiopia when it comes to green legacy projects. Of course, Ghana has its own green industrialization agenda. We've seen they're also trying to sort of introduce incentives. For example, when it comes to the mobility sector, the e-vehicle, Ghana is now introducing some policy tax incentives around the sort of importation of EVs into the country, some assembly plants, motivation for companies to come in. I think that's the inspiration that I can see happening. But the two countries are working on their own green legacy projects in their own right, according to their own settings. And I believe that the success story from these countries can help inspire many other countries on the continent.
It gives us an opportunity to learn more about each other, and it also we know that we also invited think tanks, so that means all the activities that we have been conducting here is a climate finance workshop. For policy formation also, they brought some inputs that support this policy formation related with climate financing in Ethiopia. Therefore, I think we are successful. Because we try to mobilize participants from different backgrounds, so it gave us an opportunity to know more each other and to contribute their own recommendation. Therefore, we are successful. We would like to thank the government of Ethiopia. In addition to that, we would like to thank the government of China and Africa Climate Foundation. In addition to that, Africa-China Center for Policy and Advisory. So because they mobilize such kinds of individuals across different background, and they gave some more recommendation that affect the climate financing of Ethiopia.
Aheli Tamru, program manager at African Climate Foundation, says that the foundation works to support climate-related initiatives that can generate financial support for the green legacy, green economy, and climate-friendly environment in Africa and beyond.
We mobilize philanthropic finance and support governments, private sector, civil society, academia, and research and think tanks in helping promote development on the African continent that is compatible with climate change goals. We are a kind of young organization. We have been active only in the last 5 years. We have been supporting primarily initiatives linked with just energy transition on the continent, with a focus in particular set of countries like South Africa, Nigeria, Senegal, and about half a dozen others. And now we have also branched out from work associated with just energy transition into work streams like the sustainable land use and agriculture, sustainable finance, and the like. So these are all areas or sectors where climate change solutions can actually facilitate historically faster development on the continent.
In Ethiopia, where approximately 85% of the economy relies on agriculture, transitioning to a green economy is crucial. Adopting innovative agricultural practices, enhancing productivity, and ensuring food security while maintaining ecological balance.
If we look at the energy sector in particular, for the last 100+ years, conventional energy sources were fossil fuels, which have a very bad climate footprint, as you very well know. But throughout the age of the fossil fuel era, Africa didn't actually manage to develop as fast as it should. Among other reasons, it was because the fossil fuels are actually costly They need the kind of investment we need to have in terms of infrastructure was huge and lacking in Africa. So we believe that this transition precipitated by action to stop global warming is actually something which we can leverage to so that Africa can achieve access to energy and access to affordable, plentiful energy. So we want to kind of work in this space. So that was that's one of the most important areas where we have been supporting governments. As I said, many of we have all sorts of partners in our network.
Women and youth are now being part of the dialogue for climate policies, climate finance and everything else. And we have the platform to do that for them. So that's what we create on that. We create the platform so that they could even go internationally and be part of COP and everything else and come back and also work with the national government so that we could see where can we help, including the ruler, city and everybody else. And also for us, one thing we do with the company, we have seen there's lack of awareness with climate change, or it's very complicated explaining climate change because of the science and the word and everything. So for us, we're using art as a medium to make the society understand in a very simple manner what the effects of climate change are. So a workshop like this allows us, one, to promote ourselves. Secondly, it allows us to network with different sectors. I'm a private sector, but with this kind of platforms allows me to think, oh, CSOs are working on this too. Banks are working on this too. I was very surprised today with how many banks are interested in the green aspect, which as a private sector, we never go to the banks for green finance things. So this kind of workshops allows us to open up my eyes and also network with one another.
Paul Frimpong also mentioned that Ghana and Ethiopia are partners in this initiative and there are discussions to further enhance in this green economy. Dawit also mentioned that the participants are from different sectors that have come for this important workshop.
We have Ghana and Ethiopia as the two first case countries that we're doing. We aim to replicate this across multiple countries, right? And here as we have representatives of the African Union themselves even participating in this workshop. So we hope that we'll carry it forward in the next phase and ensure that there are practical implementation of some of the work that we do. We aim to engage more as we've started in Ethiopia. We want this to be a continuous conversation. This is not going to be a one-off. We will aim to come back again and engage further until we see practical action from this kind of engagement being implemented in Ethiopia.
As a participant of such kinds of workshop, we truly appreciate for the organizers and the participant. If you see the participants, they are from different backgrounds. Like they came from the financial institution, from banks, and they came from civil society organizations, particularly who works in climate change and environmental protection. The other is from the government, because we know the government is the main stakeholder when we see related with climate change and climate financing. And the other thing is we brought also, from the international organization, like from the United Nations Environment Program, from the African Union, and as China is also one of the partners of such kinds of initiative. We brought from China Embassy and China Mission to the African Union. Therefore, you see such kinds of initiative and workshop create an opportunity for the sustainable partnership between private and public. Currently this PPP, private-public partnership, is more very important, and more it's a contemporary issue because the government cannot handle all the activities without the support from the civil society organization, from the other international or private investment companies.
The participants explained that results obtained from such workshops is businessmen, NGOs and government bodies get to know each other, and it also cements the private-public partnerships and policy formulation. In addition, it is said that this fills the existing gap, eases access to sustainable finance and facilitates international partnerships.
The first result will be, creating like some observations and creating good opportunity for all of them because they know each other, and they will bring some good opportunities across each other because they know their own background, the business, the government, and the NGO. So this one is the one expectation, the expected reality. The other thing is, strengthening this private-public partnership related with climate financing in Africa, and the other thing is supporting the policy formation related with climate financing. These are the expected outcomes of the project or the workshop.
We also are working in terms of supporting again our partners in mobilizing sustainable finance. As you very well know, and I'm sure your audience, many of your audiences know, Africa has not been receiving, when it comes to finance, Africa has not been receiving as much as it should compared to the share of the population it has and compared to the resources, the natural resources it has. For example, out of all the money that went into the renewable energy and associated sectors globally in 2024, only 2 to 3% of it went into Africa, whereas Africa's population is 20% of the global, and most resources, like for example in terms of solar energy, are found in Africa. So we want to help to play our own level best to help address this mismatch. So we want also to help facilitate sustainable access to sustainable finance for Africa and African countries, businesses, governments, communities, local communities. So that's also one important area of work. We want also to promote international partnerships and collaborations between Africa and other regions. So for example, the workshop which we are now currently attending here at the Golden Tulip today is related to helping facilitate Chinese, the flow of Chinese global finance into the continent. So this is actually trying to create awareness among African stakeholders, like in this case Ethiopian stakeholders, both from the policymakers, from businesses, and from the finance sector, the possibilities that are currently available, to the extent they are available, and how to access them. So this is a sensitizing workshop, and we are quite happy to have partnered with Africa-China Climate and Center for Policy and Advisory, which is based in Ghana, to organize this workshop. And we intend to continue doing this kind of work in terms of promoting the ideas that there are alternative sources of finance which African governments and business can tap into to achieve their sustainable development goals as well as climate ambitions.
The green legacy can generate money, but in order to make the initiative possible, there must be also a money. We need to mobilize the people who are greatly working on this green legacy. So let's see the bigger picture after we are mobilizing the people and making the green legacy to happen. Then we can easily get all the money that we are already investing on the process of green legacy. So there is no wastage on investing green legacy, rather there is a big return by investing on that. So people should consider that, and especially the financial sector, the development sectors, the multilateral organizations, so many embassies, they need to support these initiatives because one day they will get the return even more than that they support.
Paul Frimpong, one of the organizers, elaborated that Ethiopia has an inspiring green legacy initiative that is intended to make the country greener and a comfortable environment. Dawood Zagaye also appreciated the commitment of the government regarding the green legacy being implemented.
We choose Ethiopia for very strategic reasons because, as we know, the green legacy projects of your government, I think it's very laudable. It's very inspiring that the government has a very core positive focus on how to industrialize Ethiopia in a green way. So I believe that it's a perfect fit. That is why we are here to engage key stakeholders that we believe can share insight that will feed into our final project report. So what we've done is that we already have a local consultant that has worked and mapped out some of the foundational research. So today we will hear from him as he validates some of the research findings that he has, and at the same time we take key insights from our participants that will feed into the research finding and the final report that we will issue.
We really truly appreciate the works of the government of Ethiopia in order to accelerate more green finance, green legacy across Ethiopia. In general, many African countries has been experiencing such kinds of activities. So if you see most of the ambassadors, most of the heads of state, when they visit Ethiopia, they are engaging in such kinds of activity, and when they back to their own country, and they are also working for the sustainable environment and for the green legacy. We truly appreciate such kinds of activities, because as Africans, and we believe that green financing, climate, green legacy is the most important thing for us. Therefore, we really appreciate, we truly encourage such kinds of activity. We are also ready to finance and to give more opportunities, particularly in order to engage youth, Ethiopian youth, because the youth is they consist of 75% of the population, probably. So we need to engage such kinds of youth in climate change and in the green legacy and in the green skills activities.
This workshop has also the main idea of industrializing Ethiopia in a greener way, and these participants also highly appreciated the Green Legacy Initiative, saying that Ethiopia is a great nation endowed with huge natural resources. They finalized that Ethiopia's green legacy is not a political issue, rather it is facilitating the clean and conducive environment cleaned from global warming and climate change impacts.
As an Ethiopian, I am quite happy to hear Ethiopia actually being on the forefront of some of these kind of climate actions. So one thing which our brothers and sisters from the rest of Africa would probably have taken note of is, here in Ethiopia we do things at scale. So this is actually the message which I would like to promote, both to Ethiopians but also to other Africans, brothers and sisters, so that we need to move from the planning and from the pilot stage to doing our project initiative at scale. We need to mobilize. There is quite a lot of resources, in addition to financial resources, which we talk only mostly about financial resources, but there are other resources which we can actually mobilize locally. So Ethiopia is actually a great case in point where we can mobilize our own people as a resource and implement a program that nobody would have thought possible only a few years ago. So what I would say is, please, there is quite a lot of resource available here, not just natural resources, but human resources, and we can achieve quite a lot by applying those human and natural resources available here in this country judiciously and at scale, and we can have actually real impact on whatever we're trying to achieve.
Since Green Legacy the initiative is taken by the government, people may consider that it's a political issue or an agenda. Green Legacy is not an agenda. Green Legacy it's our life. We are living on the earth. Our earth should be protected. We are the one to maintain the status of our earth. Green Legacy is securing our planet in a healthier way. If our planet is healthy, we will become healthy. We are doing Green Legacy not for the government, rather for ourselves. But people may not consider that, and they may complain as this is an extra task, something related to politics. That is not the case. We are here just to give awareness, to mobilize the community, and to show how the benefit of Green Legacy to the society. And this Green Legacy is not only for Ethiopia, because we can talk about global warming. It's a global issue. So our Green Legacy initiative will contribute to not only for Ethiopia, for the continent and to the world. So we could be one of the role models to the world, so that the rest of the world should follow. We cannot do Green Legacy by our own country unless other countries can work jointly together. As the problem is global, global effort is needed. We start the initiative, and I call up every continent, every nation to participate and to start the initiative across the board. Everyone should participate on this green legacy. Let's cover our planet. Our planet was really wonderful, but because of our misuse, now we can see how the global warming, the climate change is affecting us. Now it's our turn to change and to return it back again. We are doing now because we are making some mess on the planet. So please, let's making our planet great again. Let's make the most comfortable planet, and let's make healthier environments and healthier nation.